Training. All right, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and get this thing started. Last week, we were building on the theme of the AALC Legacy Summit uh, that just happened a couple of weeks ago, and the message that was coming out from leadership and everybody was we got to promote RVPs, And so there was a challenge put out there by President-elect Mike Evans, Senior National Sales Director, Million Dollar Earner, Circle of Champions of the ALC, for us to state, hey, how many RVPs do we want to promote between now and the convention next July, right? And so we put it out there, and I think the number that collectively for everybody that was present that answered that survey that was put out there, the pledge that we made, I think it totaled up to about 497 new regional vice presidents getting promoted between now and the convention. Now, let me tell you guys something, man. I mean, that's probably almost 3 times the amount of RVPs that Primerica promoted last year alone as a company. So I just want to give y'all the gravity of that number. Like, and that 490 plus almost 500 RVPs, that's just coming from the AALC council members that were present that made a pledge. We said, hey, we're going to do our part. Everybody's numbers got added up, and it came up to about 400 in 97. I think that was the number. It's 97 or 92. But I think it was, yeah, I'm sorry, not 97, 479. I apologize. I'm transposing numbers. It was 479 RVPs. Shadrika knew, but she didn't want to correct me. I appreciate you, Shadrika, for not correcting me. No, I'm joking. but 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 yeah, but that's what it was. 479 new RVPs between now and the convention. So let's get into this week's RVP ASAP training. I'm gonna share my screen. If you guys don't mind, give me a thumbs up when you can see my screen. All right, perfect. Hey, and just like last week, man, you guys did a tremendous job of just conversing and commenting and plugging in and saying, what your thoughts were when I asked questions and stuff like that. I mean, I like a training to where you guys are engaged. I think that those are the best trainings. It ain't just me talking. I might start the conversation, but you all add value and presence to the conversation. But let's talk about just a recap of last week, building your way to RVP, right? So what did we talk about last week? We talked about the 3 reasons for you to get promoted to RVP. Number 1, and this is in no particular order, it's just we just numbering them, right? But it's not in order of importance. Number 1, RVP allows you to produce and override other regional vice presidents. It allows you to do that, right? Number 2, you must be an RVP or above to qualify for ownership in Primerica, right?
Right.
So if you want to get to the place where you own your Primerica business, you have to be a RVP or above, right? And then RVP allows you to qualify for monthly bonuses and also quarterly PRI stock, right? Those are 3 great reasons. 3 great reasons, but those are not the only reasons. I think the more important reasons for you to get promoted to RVP, because it does give you more freedom. And I don't know about you, man. More money is cool, obviously that, but more freedom to go along with it makes it more better, right? More freedom. You have a greater impact, guys. A greater impact beyond what you may have done from 8 to 5 and all that type of stuff. The impact that you are able to make as an RVP, second to none. And then, of course, it allows you to build a bigger legacy. 3 big things, man, along with the other 3, right? And so those are reasons to go RVP. And then, of course, we talked about the RVP promotion guidelines, getting promoted with structure. So to go RVP, puts you on 110% contract teammates, plus bonuses, plus PRI stock. What do you got to do, man? You got to submit 20,000 in premium over 2 consecutive months. Have a minimum of 20,000 in a rolling 12 cash flow. Hopefully it's above 20,000. But 20,000 is the floor. 6 district leaders or equivalent. B securities license. You got to have SIE 663. Have an acceptable persistency in QBI. Got to have that. You got to execute the RVP agreement, which is a contract saying, hey, you accept the RVP position. And then you have to provide your RVP upline adequate replacement. This is your upline RVP's choice, right? So you have to leave a piece of your team behind to your promoting RVP. Why? Because they need to replace you. You're going to be leaving and going off and starting your own base shop, your own thing. So they need to replace you as far as the production in that base shop, right? So they call that replacement, right? You give it up once and that's it. But you'll get a chance when you promote out RVPs to take replacement for as long as you promote out RVPs. And then last but not least, guys, you got to be full time in the business. You got to be full time, right? And then some intangibles to go along with that. You must show that you can make money on your own pen. You know, you got to be able to, show some personal production. You can't just ride off the production of your team, right? Because guess what? Can we all agree? Sometimes people are here, they hear one day, and then they go on the next, right? So if that happens, we need to be able to know that you can bounce back. That you weren't just solely a product of the production of some people on your team. Like you know how to go get it, right? You have to show that you can attract, retain, and lead people. Attract, retain, and lead people. Show some evidence of that, man. And hopefully you are if you're building your way to RVP and putting these pieces in place. And then last but not least, guys, if you get to this place, you're gonna have to have shown some level of mental toughness. You cannot be an RVP and not be mentally tough. It's just it just comes with the territory. And that one right there, because challenges happen, guys. Life happens, things happen, but you got to be able to navigate your way through that and be mentally tough, right? Those are some intangibles, okay? And then, of course, you complete all of your requirements. The new RVP and the promoting RVP each receive $20,000 in PRI stock. And you get more than that. We'll talk about that a little bit later. All right. So that's just a quick recap, guys. Now, what I want to talk about in part 2 of this RVP ASAP training. And guys, listen to me. I could have went far with this. I could have went all the way SVP, NSD, SNSD, all that. I could have did all that. Look, man, I kept it simple, guys. Maybe in some other trainings down the line, between now and the end of the year, we can go a little bit further, maybe in some one-on-ones and stuff like that if people have an interest in that. But just for the sake of the big corporate training, I just stopped at RVP, right? And so, just to keep it simple, all right? And so, so let's talk about the economics of going RVP, and what that means financially. I haven't done this training in a minute, man. I was trying to find the material. I was like, man, I know I put this training together before. Guys, I haven't done a training like this since 2023. It's 3 years ago. I had to break out my old computer. I couldn't even find it on a new computer because I saved a lot of stuff and moved it here. I'm like, dang, it ain't even on this computer. I had to break out my old computer and pull a presentation off of that from BWalk 2023. I ain't talked about this. That goes to show you how long it's been since we've been talking about RVP. Hold on a second. Am I freezing? Boy, my internet. Boy, they play with the internet around here. Yeah, I'm freezing on my side, but okay. All right. If y'all ain't saying I'm freezing, that's cool. But yeah, so that's too long, y'all. That's too long. And so, yeah, that's on me. But we back at it. We back at it. So let's talk about it. So let's. This looks familiar, right? So this is the cash flow quadrant created by Robert Kiyosaki, right? These are the 4 legal ways to make some money. You got employee. If y'all don't mind, somebody come off mute and read the description of employee. If you don't mind, somebody do that for me.
Has a job, income based on position, not the person.
Yeah. Has a job. That is the purest definition of an employee. Have a job. The income you make on that job is based on the position you have and not the person that you are, right? And so do me a favor, teammate, somebody unpack that. What does that mean? When you see that income is based on position and not the person, somebody expound on that. What does that mean for a person who has a job? Give it to me. Somebody give me their take on that.
It means that you're limited to the company's perception of what you are worth in terms of an annual salary or increases or bonuses. It is not necessarily in your hands for you to see promotion.
That's crazy. Yeah. So true, Sean. So true. Anybody else have something else they want to add to that? That was good, Sean. That was really good. All right, but hey, Sean, I
I
think
was
that
going
you.
to add, oh, I'm
Oh, go
sorry.
ahead, Auntie. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Just real quick, as an employee, the income is based on, as it states, the position. So they've already sort of mapped out, these are the positions, this is what we're going to pay for that seat, irrespective of what you may be qualified to really do. And a promotion may not be in the picture, but this is all we're going to pay. And there, oftentimes, there's a range, but it's not based on the person's level of competency. And oftentimes, they don't even care if you have sharpened yourself to take on more. The income is going to be based on how they define it, which is extremely limiting.
Wow. Yeah. Great job. Great add to that, Auntie. Um,
And then another thing, if I can add a little bit, it's just kind of depressing, but because they base it on the position and not the person, that means you're replaceable as long as they can find another person to fill that position. And some of us know about that, being laid off, set aside, training up somebody else to come in and take our position, and then they let us go because it's just a job, right? As they see it, and you just fulfill the position, and they see you as more as a commodity and not a person, right?
so good.
So
That's so good. Yeah.
that's the downside of it, unfortunately.
Absolutely. That is most definitely the downside. All right, talk to us, man.
Also, that when it comes to being an employee, it's a never-ending game. I mean, it's always the same, right? I mean, you people think you're going to change jobs and it's going to get better. It just gets that's bad. It's just a matter of time.
I mean, yeah, everything that you guys shared is spot on. It's spot on, man. And so you know, when you're an employee, what you're doing, I'll get to that later. Let's move along because we got plenty to talk about. Now, if you say, hey, I don't want to be an employee. I want to kind of do my own thing. You know what I'm saying? I want to do something different. I want to be my own boss, right? A lot of times, what people do, April, is they'll move from employee and they'll become self-employed. Now, there's plenty of people that we're familiar with that are self-employed. That means that you own a job, right? You don't necessarily have a job, you own the job. You're a dentist, doctor, lawyer, hairstylist. Now, these are dentists, doctors, lawyers that have their own practice. How about that? Right? Hairstylist, barber, real estate agent, salesperson. Those are people to where they're able to control their income, right? The more they do, the more they get paid, right? To me, if I'm a person where I'm a hard worker and there's somebody else that's standing beside me that doesn't work as hard as me, if I go out there and I show myself to be, marketable and I'm able to bring more value to my clients and I attain more clients, I think I should be paid more money. Can you guys agree with that? Right? That should be the way it is. As opposed to this person here, we should make the same amount of money if they don't have the same amount of drive and ambition and hustle as me and getting the same results that I'm getting, right? So I should get paid more money. And that's one of the benefits of being self-employed. The more you're able to do, the more clients you see, the more sales you make, the more patients, whatever, that you see and clients that you take care of, the more sales you make, the more money you make, right? But talk to me about some of the cons when it comes to being self-employed. What can you guys say about that? What are some of the downsides of being
So when you are
self-employed?
self-employed and working like
Yes.
a Hebrew slave, so, well, if you love what you do, it's all good. But the other thing, the con is if you don't work, you don't get paid. You don't get no money. Don't nothing be flowing in. You can have a secretary, you can have whoever else, like a support staff. But if you don't get paid and you that professional and nobody else is that professional in there, everybody relying on you. And it's, that's the con. Like nobody gets paid unless the boss come in and do some work and work like that nice Hebrew slave.
You said the nice Hebrew slave. Good stuff, Bob. All right, Auntie, you got something you want to add to it?
I was going to say another kind is in line with what Roz was saying, because oftentimes when you're self-employed, you wear all the hats. So you're the marketing department, you are the payroll department, accounting, whatever, operations, developing the SOPs, like you're doing everything, and the sales department. So you're wearing all the hats when you're self-employed.
Yeah, it's a never ending game that you're playing. When you're self-employed. It's interesting on this side to speak to what you guys are saying is that you know these are very, very time draining positions, because you have to trade time for money. The only difference is when you're an employee, you know, you show up, they give you work to process. They say, hey, this is your job, this is what your job needs to do. Here's your work. You process this work, and in exchange for that, we'll pay you based on your hourly or salary. We'll pay you um, every 2 weeks, twice a month, however your pay schedule is. And then they're gonna take the taxes out and stuff like that before you get your money and all of that. And you get your paycheck direct deposited. And that's the life of employed. They give you health insurance, all that. Self-employed, you gotta create the work. And don't nobody give you no work to process. You got to go create the work. You got to go create that. But here's the deal: the more work you create and the more work you do, the more money you make. The challenge is that you can't take no days off, because when you don't work, you don't get paid. You don't get paid. And Omar, talk to me. I saw with your hand up. Talk to me. I don't want to take away from what you're about to say. I might be saying some of the same stuff, but I want to hear from you.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to pick up on what you're saying. A lot of times we're under the idea that self-employed you have unlimited income, but it's not really true because you're limited in time, right? So you go either going to be either max out or burn out. But either way, you're going to be out when it comes to being self-employed if you don't have a system in place.
That's so good. That's so good. And can I say this too, guys? A lot of people that you may know that say that they're business owners, they're not really business owners, they're self-employed. They're self-employed. They may have a business designation like a LLC or this, that, and the other. They may be, from an IRS standpoint, be set up. But when it comes to the execution of their business, it's really they're self-employed. They're a one man, one woman show, right? And like Mom said, a lot of, they probably working like a Hebrew slave in order to be able to make that dollar, right? And it can be a very stressful situation. Now let's move from the left side to the right side, right? Now the right side, up at the top, it says business, right? Or business owner, right? What is a business owner? Somebody read that for me. What the business owner says, if you don't mind.
Owns a system, has others working for them and with them, unlimited income potential via manufacturing, marketing, distribution, et cetera, et cetera.
About y'all, but I like that word unlimited income. Those two words. When you put them together, they just sound, beautiful. Unlimited income, right? You can make unlimited income, like Omar said. When you're self-employed, or an employer self-employed, you're limited on the income. As an employee, you want a fixed income. Whatever your salary is, or whatever your wages, man, that's pretty much what you're gonna get paid, right? Now, sometimes you might be in a position to where you can get some overtime and stuff like that, but still, you gotta trade more time in order to get that money, right? So you're limited in terms of the amount of money. But when you're self-employed, yeah, you can make a lot of money, but you're limited from time and what you're able to invest from a time standpoint. So that limits your income. But when you have a business, you have others working for you and others working with you. It allows you to tap in to the value and the power of time, because you can duplicate yourself and you can put yourself in a position to where work is getting done, but you don't necessarily have to be the one that's doing it. All right. And so I like that. I like that. And let me ask this, guys, business owner in the system, manufacturing, marketing, distribution, um, you know, it's not an overnight thing. It's not an overnight thing. If you're going to have a true business, that means you got to have systems that run your business, right? And so, you know, it takes time. It's not done overnight. A lot of times people will stay self-employed because it's easier. Auntie, they'll be like, man, I'll just do it myself. I ain't got no time to be waiting on people to get it and understand it. I don't have the patience to do it. If it's to be, it's up to me. I'll just take care of it. I'll do it myself. And that mentality will keep a person trapped and where they are. All right. Being the only person, the chief cook and bottle washer of their business. Right. So now, last thing I want to go to is investor. Somebody read that investor definition for me, that description for investor.
Has money working for him or her, enjoys complete freedom, and has the opportunity to achieve their dreams.
I love that. I love that. Has money working for him or her. Man, guys, I'm gonna go and let the cat out the bag, man. Real talk. When it comes to this cash flow quadrant, this is where we all want to be one day. Where we got enough money, where money is working for us, right? Investor is the ultimate place, but money is the best employee, right? And so, so somebody speak to their take on investor and why people want to become an investor. Let me I just want to throw that out there. I'll take one or two people, but anybody have any comments on that or want to weigh in on that? If you don't, that's fine. I'll just keep going. But anybody have any thoughts on why people should want to become an investor and want to become an investor sooner rather than later?
Hey, this is Sean. When you describe a business, you have the word a, which refers to singular. Usually, when you think about an investor can have multiple businesses under their direction or watch, and it becomes an even greater way to multiply yourself and your income, and really a true way to create even a whole nother level of legacy.
It's good, Sean. That's really good. And I think that a person who wants to become an investor, they are legacy minded. I think that people who have a desire to become an investor, don't take this wrong. They're probably some of the laziest, most procrastinating people that are out there. And because of that, they work their tail off to build a business that allows them to be able to do that, to be able to be free, to do whatever they want to do. Omar, talk to us.
Another thing that's a benefit or a plus when it comes to business or investor is that you're not just blessing your own life and becoming free from working or having to work, but you're also blessing others. Because if you employ people or you invest in something that is going to keep people employed, you're blessing indirectly some others.
That's so good. That's so good, man. Let me tell you something. Y'all have heard me say this before. Money's the best employee that's out there. Man, you got dollars working for you, man. Dollars will work 24/7. It'll work in this market. It'll work in overseas market. It'll work in all different, it'll diversify wherever you send it. Its assignment is to go multiply, to go produce, to bring back more, right? And so it doesn't steal from you. It don't call in sick. It don't do any of that. Like money as an employee working for you. I love to say has money working for them, right? For the sake of producing more money. That's the ideal place to be. But let's be real, guys. The quickest way to get to investor, it's not going to be employee. Guys, it takes the average person about 40 years of working. And hopefully they're doing the right things with their money in their 401k plan and all that type of stuff. But it takes about 30 to 40 years for somebody to get to a place where they become an investor. And I'll be honest with you guys, the statistics are showing that, man, people are struggling to get there, even with that 30 to 40 years, because jobs don't pay people enough to where they can live a comfortable life, they can pay their bills, and they can have enough to be able to set aside to one day truly become not just financially independent, but they have enough to be a true investor where they can live comfortably off their money. Now, there are people out there that they're in a fortunate position and they've able to amass wealth. I'm talking about the mass majority of people. One day becoming an investor, it's going to be a challenge for them. So going from employee to investor, it's a long shot for a lot of people. Going from self-employed to investor, oftentimes when you're self-employed, the challenge is that, yeah, you might have a good year, you might have a good 2 years, but oftentimes it might be feast, then famine when you're self-employed. So the money and the things that you've saved up during the good times, you might have to use it in the down times. And then seasons can change in your business where you might have to pivot, you might have to shift, you might have to adjust. And that might take resources to do that. And so becoming self-employed, you got to be truly disciplined with your money. You got to be extremely disciplined with your money when you're self-employed in order to stay on track to become an investor. But that can take time, depending on what you're doing. Now, if you're dealing in, as a niche contractor or something like that in um, a lucrative industry, like oil and gas, defense contracts, you get what I'm saying, manufacturing, and they're going to contract you, and this is what you do. You get contracts and you making money like that, and you're doing your thing like that. That's different. You just better do right with the money that you're making. But most people that are self-employed, like the person who does your hair or cuts your hair, your barber, I'm telling you right now, only thing they don't get, if they're not smart with their money, only they're gonna get at the end of the day is carpal tunnel. And that's real talk. And so it's tough. It's tough because you either max out or you're gonna burn out. It's self-employed. Business owner, guys, I'm telling you, business owner is the best and fastest way to get to investor. Business owner. So I set this up because becoming a regional vice president in Primerica allows you to be able to put yourself in a pole position to build a business. And that business, you should want it to help you become an investor faster, right? And so wherever you're at right now, whether you are a rep, senior rep, district leader, division leader, regional leader, whatever the case may be, guys, you can become a regional vice president for the purpose of allowing you to build a business so you can become that investor. You can become that investor. You can make up time. It doesn't matter what season of life that you are in. You can make up time through a business because you're not limited, right? This is an unlimited income potential when you have a business, right? Unlimited income potential. Now, I'm saying this, but where I'm going to go is I'm not going to paint the full picture of how unlimited it is, but guys, just know that it gets greater when you really do this thing the right way. So let me say this. Y'all have heard people say that, RVP is just a decision away, right? It's just a decision. Have y'all heard some version of that? Like it just takes a decision for you to go RVP and all of that. And let me ask y'all something, guys. How many months did they say you can go RVP after you make the decision? What do they say? You make a decision to go RVP, you go RVP in how many months? What's the number of months that you guys have heard?
6 months.
6 months.
Six.
6 months. 6 months. You make a decision, you go RVP in 6 months. And guys, that is true. I'm just a person to believe that if you want to be a healthy RVP, if you want to be a prosperous, and that depends on where you're going from, where you're coming from. I personally believe, and just hear me out on this, I think that it takes about a good 12 months. Now, if you're starting from new, 24 months from a decision to go RVP, and let me tell you why. Yeah, could you go RVP in 6 months? Absolutely. But I'm telling you right now, you're going to have some gaps. You're going to have some things that you just don't know, some things that you're going to be learning on the fly, right? And I'm of the opinion, man, that there's some things that you should learn and you should master while you're in the base shop, while you're below the level of RVP, before you promote out to RVP. Because when you promote out to RVP, it is a full-time job. Y'all heard me say that, right? It's a full-time thing. And not a job, but it's a full-time opportunity. You can't have a job. So you want to be at a certain place, you know, in terms of your knowledge and your skill. You get what I'm saying? When you go RVP. So let's say you make this decision to go RVP. Let's say you say, hey, I want to be an RVP. I'm deciding to do that. Now, there's a lot that goes into that. Like that root word "side," that means to put to death. That means that you have decided I'm not going to distract myself with nothing else. I'm not going back to get a master's degree. You get what I'm saying? I'm not going to get an MBA. I'm not going to try to, fulfill my lifelong dream and go act on Broadway. Y'all get what I'm saying? Like, when you decide to go RVP, I mean, that's you planting your flag and say, this is where I think God wants me to be, and I'm going to build this thing and I'm going to make it happen. Family, I truly believe that. Now, can you do it in 6 months? Absolutely. I think to get it to where you need to be, I would say give yourself about 12 months to put it all in place. And let me go through that with you. Let me talk a little bit more about it. Now, let me tell y'all something. How fast does 12 months go by? Like that. Guys, we're about to be in the month of May. Anyway, 12 months goes by so quick, but so don't get caught up in that. All right. So what I want to talk about is a 12 to 24 month journey. And then what happens at the end of that journey? Let's say you decide to go RVP, right? Depending on where you're starting from. Some of you guys might be starting from, district leader, division leader, regional leader. You get what I'm saying? Like, it just takes time to put some things in place. So, once you decide to go RVP, the 12 to 24 month journey, you got to become results focused in executing the winning momentum cycle. You're not just out here doing crap for your health. You get what I'm saying? You out here trying, you're not trying. You're out here focused on getting results, man. So some of y'all might be the winning momentum cycle. What does that mean? Well, let me remind you, the winning momentum cycle is really kind of it's the fundamentals of the business. It's prospecting. This is the winning momentum. It goes in order: prospecting, scheduling appointments, doing a winning presentation, closing business and getting referrals, and recruiting and getting a new recruit off to a fast start, and just repeating it all over again, right? You know what I'm saying? You are results focused in executing every piece of that winning momentum cycle. And you become ice water cold at it and doing it. You know what you're doing. And all of those things, from prospecting to scheduling appointments. So in that 12 to 24 months, teammates, listen to me. You're locking in and you're getting great at these things. Wherever you're starting from right now, I guarantee you, like, man, I probably know how to do this and this, but I need to get better at that. I need to get more results focused and proficient and consistent at these things. I'm telling you right now, you do that in that 12 to 24 months. So when you become an RVP, you know how to do these things and get results, the right results. Next up, you become licensed, proficient, and confident in doing securities. after you decide to go RVP. Now, some of you guys might be there already, but for people who are just like, Nick, I want to be an RVP, but you're not securities licensed, guess what? In that 12 to 24-month journey that it's going to take you, you need to become licensed, proficient, and confident in doing securities. Guys, let me speak for myself. I wish I had become proficient and confident in doing securities before I went RVP. Are with me on this? Because it would have saved me a lot of time. It would have balanced my business out more. And I'd be in a better place now. We went years without really doing securities the way we should have been doing. We were just focused on life insurance, recruiting, and promotions, and y'all get what I'm saying? And getting bonuses from life insurance. Did we do securities here? We did a pack here, a pack there, stuff like that. But we weren't really in the securities business because there was a gap there. We weren't as confident. Does this make sense what I'm saying? Let me tell you something. Once you make the decision to become RVP, now that I've put on your mind, hey, some of y'all I got to get securities license. If you're already securities licensed, you got to become proficient and confident and capable doing securities. Not just setting up a $50 monthly pack, but hey, client come in your lap. Let's say you recruit somebody, you field training them, and then they take you to their mom, and their mom works at Exxon, and then she about to retire. She done been there for 35 years. She got $900,000 in her 401k. She got a pension set up, and she like, well, I trust my baby. What can you do for me? You don't need to be like, like, no, yeah. Now, obviously, if you need help, we'll help you, but we want you to be at a place, guys, to where it's just not blowing you out of the water. But you can get that way while you're under the level of RVP. So coming back to that, become licensed, proficient, and confident in doing securities in that 12 to 24 month journey coming in RVP. Also, guys, become successful in recruiting, licensing, but these last two, leading and retaining people. Leading and retaining people, right? You build a team, but the team sticks around, or enough of the team. They're sticking around, they're hanging with you, right? You're leading your team. You learn how to do that effectively while you're in the base shop. That's what you do. Now, because let me tell you something, being a full-time RVP, you don't have predictable and recurring income coming in. Yeah, you got to make money on your own pen, but sometimes making money on your own pen people can sacrifice building and growing their organization for the sake of, I need to make some money. Well, if you don't really haven't mastered that skill, yeah, you might be able to secure an IBA. Listen to me, guys. You can secure an IBA. But when you secure that IBA, are you, not your RVP, see, this is the deal right here. Sometimes we can think that we know how to build, but it was really the influence of your leadership created your team and the energy around your team. Now that you're in RVP and you're the person that has to create the environment and the energy for your team, are y'all with me? Are you able to lead and retain and galvanize and move the people? See, a lot of times people say, well, Nick, when did you join Primerica? I joined Primerica, guys, in 2003. I didn't go RVP until 2009. I'm not bragging on that. I saw a lot of people that I knew in the business and people that came after me in the business, Auntie, that went RVP before me, right? And it was one of those things to where I was the poster child for being an RVP without the contract. I was a poster child for it. What was that? It was so bad, Mom, that Stephen Felici was like, bro, when are you gonna take your contract? When are you gonna take your contract? I had already kind of given up my replacement while I was in the base shop. My replacement was already there. I was just wanting to put other things in place when I went. Like, so when I went RVP, it wasn't like a shock to me, like, now it was some things that I had to get adjusted to, but I was already there. I was already full time. Listen to me. I was already paying office rent and had been for a long time. I was already running my own conference call with my team. We used to do conference call. I was running my own conference call. I was doing trainings. I was doing all of these things. So RVP was just a promotion and percentage of contract for me. It wasn't a, wait a minute, I got to do all of these things now. Like, no. You want to be at a place to where you're there. Auntie, talk to me.
Ooh. Quick question. You mentioned you were already in position. You were already operating as an RVP and doing all the things that was necessary. But you said there were some things that you wanted to ensure that they were in place before you signed the contract. Can you share a little bit about what were some of the things that you wanted to make sure that foundation was set before you stepped all the way in, even though you were in motion?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it was a couple of things. I got securities license as a district, right? One of them was I'm coming back to the securities part. One of them was people. I wanted a few more people, when I went out RVP. So it was making sure I was continuing to build the team and get the team in a certain place. Because when we went RVP, I wanted to hit the ground running. You know what I'm saying? So one aspect of it was more people. The other aspect was that it was required at the time in our hierarchy for us to have a Series 26 to go RVP, right? Now, this wasn't a Primerica rule. This was a Tony and Paula Stevens rule. And so I had to go get a Series 26. April, I was a regional leader on my RVP run. I had to go and study for a Series 26 exam. I was doing it late at night. I'm talking about I get in the house probably around, because this is when we used to go out in the field. We used to be out in them streets running appointments. I would make it back to my apartment at like 11 o'clock at night. Auntie, I'd be up till like about 2, 3 in the morning studying stuff, just killing the Q bank. I couldn't read that late because it just put me to sleep. I said, you know what, I'm just going to exhaust the Q bank. I went through the whole 26 Q bank, killed it, and went in there. Part of that I had to pass. I passed the first time, passed with 26. And last thing is, and Omar, I'm coming to you. I wanted to get the green jacket, which is the equivalent of the future jersey now. I wanted to get the green jacket. Now, for those who don't know, and we don't even talk about it like we used to, the green jacket was dang near a prerequisite. It was like one of the master's jackets, like them golf jackets. And it is the most competitive competition below the level of RVP. They award 300 a year, 150 every 6 months. And these are the top 150 builders in Primerica below the level of RVP. You can only win it once. You know what I'm saying? So once you win it, you're no longer in the running, right? But when I tell you them numbers move every day, and I wanted to get that designation for the green jacket because it allowed me to get a bonus, a certain percentage of bonus longer as an RVP, right? They still do that when you win the future jersey, but it's the most competitive competition in Primerica. And so it was a couple of times that I was fighting it like, and then I missed it. I'm like, man, and I got it. So when I went RVP, I got my RVP at the event that I got promoted. I got my plaque at RVP. I got my green jacket and my RVP plaque at the same event. Omar, talk to me.
No, I was just gonna share real quick, following up with Jackie's question. One of the things that you were trying to get in place which I don't think everyone in here knows except probably Rahima, is that you were building the business on your own by yourself pretty much because that's when Steven was waiting for baby and he was mostly in Dallas. It was almost you on your own. And that's some of the things, Jackie, that he was trying to build in actual business, not just try to make income and licensing and promotions, but actually set up business because he was you by yourself. I remember those days.
Oh man, Omar been there longer than everybody, man. So he been there. He saw me when I was young in the game. At full-time district leader that moved from Dallas to Houston, that's when I met Omar. Burning up the streets, trying to find people that want to join this business, man. Running op meetings, all of that. Because when we moved to Houston, and this was part of my developmental journey, Auntie, you'll like this. When we moved to Houston, Stephen and Phoenicia got pregnant with Brooke, their daughter. And so Stephen was still living in Dallas. Phoenicia was here in Houston, but she was dealing with everything that happens in pregnancy. So I would come to the office, full-time district leader. I would get the mail. I would pass out everybody's mail in their mailbox. When the training room needed to be set up, I'm setting up the chairs in the training room. I'm queuing up the presentation, all of that. I'm making the lineup of speakers. Who's speaking? Like I'm doing it all. Like I'm working this thing. And I'm trying to go and get people. Like, and so it grew me up real quick in the business. It really did. Really did. So
Thank you for sharing that.
yeah, for sure. But now it's not that extreme now for you guys, but what I'm saying is that what you want to do, you want to be at a place to where you're starting to take ownership, or you've taken ownership of your team and of your business. And you're still in communication, like Stephen Phoenicia. Like, we didn't even talk. When Stephen would call me, rarely would he say, okay, it'll come at the end of the conversation. We would talk, talk, talk. And then he'd be like, man, how y'all looking this month? And what I would tell him, I said, we're going to be there. We're going to be there. And my word was bond. Like, we'll be there. We'll be all right. We'll be there. And he knew I was going to be good for at least 5x5 or something like that. Like, we were going to produce recruits, premium every single month. And I was going to make money every single month. And that's what it was. And so, Heen, talk to us. I definitely want to hear what you got to say, Dave. Talk to us.
I just want to, it's so good to have these conversations, and then thank goodness that Omar is on this call. But you all have to, like, the way that Nick approached the business at that time was, and still now, right? But was so serious, right? And like literally took being a business owner and that journey to RVP so serious. But he was extremely competitive. Nick did not want to, like, it was not going to happen. He didn't want to go to RVP without having it. And I'll call it the jersey, since that's what we call it now, right? If he was going to go RVP, he was going to be in that top 150, right? And the same thing happened when it went to going over 100K in income. He was not going to go over 100K in income without being a power builder, right? Having that power builder ring. But you have to decide those things internal, like that's your internal fortitude, right? That's who you are internally, and decide that I'm going to put the work into that thing to do it. The get into the council, same thing, right? Try fighting to now getting and to keep going, but at that time, that competitive nature. Nick is the as far as coaching everybody on this team, he allows everybody to build their own kind of internal governors, right? But in all reality and all actuality, his competitive nature, his competitive spirit is very well alive. But he's willing to put in the work to get there if that's what's needed, right? And so it wasn't, there was not going to be RVP without that designation. And there was not going to be 100K without that power builder. It just wasn't going to happen. And he made it happen. He did it, right?
Man, I appreciate that, baby. Um, and I didn't have cable at my house. I wasn't watching basketball. I wasn't watching, like, I do a lot of that stuff now, but when it was like that time, like, I was locked in. Like, I was locked in. I never forget, because this is when, guys, everything that I train on and I share with you guys, it's literally from a lot of it, not all of it, because I got to credit some people who I learned under and they taught me things and I'm sharing it with you guys. It's like I'm getting it from here and I'm being a river, not a reservoir for information. But a lot of the foundational things that I talk to you guys about are things that I experienced that I learned as I went. Because Stephen and Phoenicia were young in the business. You get what I'm saying? Like, we were young. I started the business when I was like 27. Stephen and Phoenicia were like 27, 28 themselves. Like, we were kids, man. And nobody was a business owner prior to coming here. We were literally trying to figure this thing out. And so, and they kind of let me do my own thing. You know what I'm saying? They kind of let me go out there and figure it out. And I would go find things out and I'd bring it back to them like, hey, y'all, like, so they don't even look at me as like a downline almost. And this, you can ask Steven this. It's like, bro, we grew up in the business together. You like a brother to us. He called me little big brother. Like, it's just like we're that type of cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, they bounce things off of me like just because they know me, Rahima, Mark, and Felicia, like we got a pulse on things. And so you get what I'm saying? So saying all that to say this is that man, I wanted to win so bad. I just wanted to win. And so wherever I needed to go, whatever sacrifice I need to make, whatever journey, I just wanted to win, man. And so I just fell in love with sharing things with people. So when I share things and I talk to you guys about things, these are things that I went through, things that I'm like, you don't want to do that because I did that for a long time. And it hurt me in the like, so I be telling y'all stuff from my experience. I really do. I be sharing from my, so even this training right here, this is from my experience training. Because I know sometimes, man, you like, oh man, you go RVP in 6 months, and that's what we've heard. But I'm telling y'all right now, it takes time if you really want to be ready. Now, it's better. Let me say this. Listen to these words. I'm not saying that I ain't gonna promote you out for 12 months. It's better to, Sean, you're gonna like this one. It's better to promote you too soon than too late. I'm gonna repeat that. It's better to promote a person too soon than too late. Right? So if anything, we'll veer towards promoting you sooner rather than later. I'm just trying to tell you guys that look, make sure that you have your stuff together before you go RVP. Just make sure you have your stuff together, man. And so let's continue. Dang, time it got away from it, brother. Okay. Become relentless at saving money and strengthening your finances in this 12 to 24 month journey. What does that mean? Save everything, guys. Save it all. I know I play with it saying, oh, you can map 50%, map 100% of what you're making. Map it. If you got another means of income, a full-time job, all that type of stuff, yeah, map 100% of what you are making in Primerica. Map it all. Save it all. And strengthen your finances. What does that mean? Look here. Don't go out and buy no new daggum car, not unless your car is broke down, right? But don't go buy no new car. Don't go buy no new... See, this is extreme stuff. Don't go buy no new house. All the things that are just going to inflate your lifestyle. When you go RVP, you need to be lean and mean, if possible, to where you can pay your bills, your expenses, and your egg ain't that big to crack. Are y'all with me? Like, be lean and mean. Pay some debt off. Get your expenses down low as you can. So that way you can focus on the main things when you're going RVP and you're not worried about, no, man, my mortgage is $3,000 a month. Y'all get what I'm saying? Yeah, you don't want that. That's a, and if you ain't got no spouse that got a full-time job that's coming with it and all of that, like, if it's just you, yeah, get them expenses down low. And even if you're a couple, get the expenses down low. Talk to the B-Walk.
Yeah, so I'll chime in on that because when we talk about getting prepared financially, that is the number one thing, right? And so I was blessed to be in a position where I did sell a house. And so the proceeds of my house, I was able to put aside. And that's what I use for my cushion, right? And so, but I've been an RVP now almost 5 years. And so you do have moments where you do have to touch that savings, and you have moments where you do good, you have to replenish what you use. And so it's always smart to watch what you do. Even going into this now, how Nick said, promoting, we're not gonna hold you too long. There may be moments where we have to promote you. Sorry, y'all, my battery about to go out. I gotta get it. But anyways, I'm saying map your money. I can't emphasize that enough, is map your money. And if you don't understand what that is, or if you haven't started that, get with Nick and Rahima, map your money, right? It's so important. I can't emphasize it enough. It's very important, y'all. Before I started Primerica, I was, into trying to save and do some things already. Didn't believe in having a new car. I had an old Charger. I still have my Charger, but I had it for like 10 years. So I didn't have a car note for a long time. So my expenses were real low. And so I was forced to purchase a car. Didn't know it, but I was already at that time, I think I was about almost a year into RVP. But y'all, make sure what he's saying when he's talking about finances, that is the number one thing, right? Is save your money. You don't have to be on everything, anything out and about. There's some trips I've sat back and be like, hey, y'all go and I'll see y'all next time. Right. And that's okay. Because when times get tough, because that's life, right? You never know what's going to come up, health wise. It's different stuff as you're building. And one thing Nick did talk about was replacement legs, and you trying to get out, and you're going to have moments where you're creating, environments and trying to build and do things and learning, because we all went to school, but when you had that hands-on experience, it was a little different, right? And so there are going to be some things that you go through, but just continue to lean into your coaches. But when they talk about save your coins. Trust me. I just wanted to say that because that's really, really important. And I'm glad you did mention that. So if y'all are not mapping your money, map your money. If you haven't started studying for your SIE or your securities exam, because I my business moved fast, 16 months, and I was RVP. I was studying for my exams as an RVP and passed them in 4 months. But get them out the way. That way you can get trained while you're in the base, and so it's some things that, I can talk about, but I'm just saying, y'all map your money, get your license, get fully trained. And what you don't understand, don't walk around and act like, oh, I'm too scared to ask. There is no wrong question. Make sure you're asking those questions that you need to ask. I don't care if you've been in this business 5+ years. There are some things that you may not know that you need to ask. So make sure that you're asking. Okay.
Good stuff, man. That is good stuff. Man, appreciate that, Coach B Wall. Shout out to Kimberly Carroll. Kim mapping 100%. I saw that queen mapping 100% of her money, man. And so I know some of you guys out there, y'all might be doing the same thing. Shout out to you as well. But if you are not mapping any money, your primary money, let's get to it, man. We're gonna do that. We're gonna make sure that gets done by the end of next month. I promise you that. So become relentless in saving money and strengthening finances. Guys, we probably gonna go a little bit long, but I just want to kind of cook a little bit. So y'all just hang with me. Become effective in communication and accountability. You heard Coach B Wall talk about this, man. I mean, you can talk to us. You can communicate it, but we have to have lines of communication open during your RVP journey. Now, if you are doing your thing, like it's just us checking in with you to make sure that, hey, how's this going? How's that going? Because you never know what may come your way, and you don't have to try to do it all by yourself and figure it out all by yourself. Trust me, there is a high probability that we have seen it, done it, got the t-shirt 2, 3, 4 times before. And you want to be able to lean on the wisdom of your coaches, right? So become a fit. Don't get in a shell. Don't isolate yourself, especially if things are going a little bit difficult with clients and teammates. Don't isolate yourself. That's a tool of the enemy, right? You want to be able to communicate these things and be able to get encouragement, reinforcements, all of that type of stuff. That's what we are here for. And also accountability, man. Accountability, when you are now accountability, I think the best type of accountability is self-governed accountability. You just have, Rahima talked about it, how I was. You just have something inside you that's saying, I'm not going to be putting up zeros. Especially if I say that I want to be an RVP, like I'm going to go out there, I'm going to make some things happen. And I'm going to lead my team, and we gonna make some, I'm going to make some things happen, and my team, we going to make some things happen. That's the accountability that we're talking about, to where your coaches can say, hey, what do you think you guys are going to finish this month? And you can say something and you believe it and you go make it happen, right? So this is 12, 24-month journey. And then be consistent in attending trainings and meetings. Guys, this is elementary, but it's so important. It's so easily missed. And look here. You're not missing meetings because, oh, coach, I got an appointment, so I can't be on Tuesday training. No. I'm telling you right now, don't be tempted by that. Well, I'm just so busy, man. I'm trying to go RVP. Coach, in the next X amount of days. So, man, I'm not going to be on Tuesday training. I got 3 field trips. Don't schedule appointments on training day. Do it. Because I'm telling you right now, you're setting a bad precedent before you go RVP. Don't do it. Guys, I never missed a meeting. I never missed trainings. I never missed big events. On my way to RVP, I was there. First one there every 2 days. This is in person. Last one of the last ones to leave. I'm there for Saturday training. I'm there for everything. Did I have a team? We had a, of course. I scheduled around it. I scheduled it all around it. And that's how you gotta be. Be consistent at attending the trainings, because you're building these habits and you're showing your team and the people that you're bringing in how they should behave. Are y'all with me on that? I'm telling y'all, this is big. It's small, but it's big, right? And then last but not least, become skilled at building district leader legs, because that's the blueprint. Those are the building blocks for you to become RVP. Now, I'll be real with you. Can I give y'all something that y'all may know but you don't know? Oftentimes your RVP is probably building your first 2. They're gonna build your first 2, 3 districts. When you in the base shop, they're gonna build your first 2, 3 districts for you. So you might have, you might sit up and look up, you got about 3 district leaders under you. Be like, man, I'm a regional leader. It's that, and you think that you done built them no 3. I'm telling you right now, you know if you built them district leaders. You get what I'm saying? To where you recruited them, you did the orientation, you walked them through calling the list. They called, you coached them, you ran the first appointment, the second appointment, you closed business, you recruited the people for them. You get what I'm saying? You helped them get through the licensing process. And then there are people that's under them. You did the same thing with them, and you built that leg. Guys, I wanted to get good at that while I was in the base shop. And I'm telling you right now, that's what you got to do. You got to get good at building district leader legs. You got to get good at that, because I'm telling you, it's going to serve you so well when you become an RVP. It's going to serve you to where you can start from scratch and you'd be like, oh, okay, all right, man, I'm starting over. All right, cool, man. All right, let me go ahead and let me recruit some people. Let me build them. Like, you just know how to do it. You just know how to do it. Are y'all with me? So, because you've done it a lot of times or enough times. And so you want to do that. All right. So I'm coming down the home stretch. Guys, I want to finish this. Hang with me. Look at this. Now, the speed in which you do these things, it could come down to your warm market. Some people come in, they just got a never-ending warm market. So they meet with some of everybody, and they getting recruits, they getting premium, they getting all this, they getting training, they're getting all. So it might come down to your warm market, your work ethic, and your willpower, guys. These 3 things will determine the speed of your RVP journey. Your warm market, your work ethic, and your willpower. Now, your warm market might be, I met a stranger, but now I've gotten to know that stranger, and now they're my friend. And so now they're a part of my what? My warm market. right? You building new relationships with people. The work ethic is your work ethic might be work ethic, scheduling appointments, prospecting, working your pipelines, just work. Like, do you have a strong work ethic? Do you have a standard? Like, I got so many appointments that I need to hit on a weekly basis. I need to schedule this many appointments. Like, you're working your business. That can help determine the speed in which you get this done. And then just your willpower, your faith and your belief. Like, I just believe I'm gonna do it. I just like that. That right there is probably one of the most powerful ones. Just your willpower, your refusal to be denied. That willpower, guys. I'm telling you right now, warm market, work ethic, and willpower can determine the speed in which these things happen, right? That RVP journey. Now, let's say that come RVP, 12, 24-month journey, this RVP couple, nice couple, man. Hey, they coming, right? They went RVP. This is what happened. Look, so in that 12 to 24 months of them going RVP, they grew in competency and confidence. They grew, right? They went full time because you got to do that. They went RVP. They took their RVP contract. They gave up replacement, right? And now, because they did all the things that we've been talking about and all the RVP guidelines, all that, guys, they know how to make money. They know how to make money. They know how to build a team, and they know how to weather a storm. In the business, they know how to weather a storm. In addition to, they got competency and confidence. They got all, and now they got the RVP contract. They're ready. They're ready. They're ready, guys. And so now let's talk about the wealth through the stock. Because when they got promoted to RVP, they received $20,000 in PRI stock when they got promoted to RVP, but it doesn't stop there. Check this out. For every newly licensed rep that they get that writes their first $1,000 in premium, Primerica will give them another $250,000. I'm sorry, $250 in PRI stock. And then when they promote a new district leader, now there's different requirements in that, but I'm just being real general with this. When they promote a new district leader, Primerica is going to give them another $500 in PRI stock. And then when they promote a new RVP, for every new RVP that they promote, Primerica is going to give them $20,000 in PRI stock as well. Not just the RVP that gets promoted, but the promote. Now that they're the promoting RVP, they get the $20,000 in stock as well. So guys, check this out. You will receive $20,750 in PRI stock for every new recruit that you take from, every new person you take from new recruit to RVP. Company gonna give you, because you're gonna get the $250 when they get licensed and they write their first $1,000 premium, $500 when they go district, and $20,000 when they go RVP. Y'all, that's equity. That's a lot of equity right there. And that equity will grow. It will grow. So let's talk about new RVP, or just RVP production, monthly production compensation. So let's say this is a new RVP, right? Right? New RVP. They got 3 district leaders. This is from replacement. This is what they got, right? They got 3 district leaders with them, right? Let's go here. So they get 2-3 districts. What they want to get, they want to get 2-3 directs in a month, 1 new pass notices. They do $5,000 in premium, personal premium. That's roughly about 6 life apps a month. Average app size is $73 a month. Guys, that personal production loan is going to pay them $5,071. Total commission from Primerica, $5,071. Then if their team does another $5,000, Auntie, they're going to get $2,760 in an override, right? And that's just their team combined. These 3 district leaders doing a combined 6 life apps, right? They're gonna override that $2,766. Check this out, guys. They're gonna get a bonus because they did $10,000 in their base shop. That 5 came from them personally, 5 came from their team. So you start the bonus when you hit 10. So that $10,000 bonus, say they got a 75% QBI. The bonus is 10% of whatever your premium is, and they bend it through your quality of business. That's why quality of business is important. Your QBI is important. So they got a $1,000 bonus, but then they got a 75% QBI. So their bonus was $750. And then let's say they do $200,000 in securities. Why? Because they became proficient and confident in doing securities while they were in the base shop. So when they went RVP, they just got a promotion. They already knew what they were doing. So to do 200,000 in securities wasn't nothing to them. They did 200,000 personal securities, 100,000 went into mutual funds, 100,000 went into a variable annuity, paid them $4,960 that month. And then with client solutions, let's say they did a PLPP, auto and home, Vivint, all that type of stuff. Let's say they made an additional $500 a month just doing client solutions. If they did this on a monthly basis, now some numbers might be bigger than others each month, but if the monthly compensation add up, guys, this will pay an RVP $168,564 a year. Y'all ain't excited. This is doing this with no boss, no quota, own schedule. $168,000 a year. Y'all ain't excited. Y'all ain't excited. Let's just say that, you're getting these 2 to 3 directs a month, right? You're getting these 2 to 3 directs a month. Let's say that, man, these 2 to 3 directs, man, they start really trying to work something, man, and they start doing their thing. And let's just say that, hey, look, now you got 6 district leaders as an RVP. So you're still doing your 5 personal and making that commission, but now your override for the other 15,000. Let's say that your team is now doing 15,000 because you got 6 districts. Now your override is $82.98 in the month. That's roughly about 18 life apps spread out over 6 district leaders. Bonus on that, it's a $20,000 bonus. It says 10,000 RVP bonus. I'm sorry about that. It should be 20,000 RVP bonus. The RVP bonus is now $1,500 in a bonus. Still doing the 200,000 securities, 500 client solutions. Now your income, you own accounts. Over $200,000 in income a year. And guys, you got a team of, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 people. But you out here building, you just finding the right people, going about your business, making sure that you're producing people who know how to help families, impact the community. They're making money, saving money, but you're doing the same thing. And then you can get to the place where you start promoting out RVPs and it gets crazy. It gets crazy. And so I'm here to tell you that if your goal is to become an RVP, I want to affirm you in that. I want to say that is a magnificent goal to have, and I want to help you get there because it's worth it. It's very, very much worth it. And with the time that we're in right now and what's going on in this economy and how these jobs are showing how loyal they really are not, I'm telling you right now, guys, this is the season for not only you to make the decision to say, hey, let me really explore this RVP thing and make a decision. I want to be an RVP, but at the same time, look for some other people that might be feeling the same way that you're feeling. They just don't have the opportunity. They've never been shown the vehicle on how to get there. And you guys can build something and build it together and change each of you all's lives in the process. All right. And so that's all I got, teammates. I'm going to stop the recording right here, but I love you guys. If anybody needs anything, just let us know. But I'm going to upload this so that way you can have it. And we'll revisit this whole RVP thing a little bit later in the year. Well, I'll go even further. We'll talk about RVP override, like when you're overriding other RVPs from not only the RVP contract, but the senior vice president, NSD, SNSD contract, and how you can become $1 million earner here. All right. So that's all I got.